All right. Okay. So, yeah, so we are starting this new series and
Thick.
act-
Already very videos you done
can you
slowly.
mute everyone? Like, I don't know how to do that.
Don't worry, I'll do that. I'm just in the
O-
process of doing it. You proceed,
o-
yeah.
Okay. So, we are just going to discuss the stories of Shrimad Bhagavatam. So this book actually talks. Um, it's like um it's full of stories about devotion basically. So before starting the book, we are going to discuss about the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. So glory means the Mahatmyam, how great the book is. And basically you will not find the glory in the book itself because it's saying it's praising the book. So the glory was taken from the Uttarakhanda of the uh, Padma Purana. So, uh, yeah, so before that, let's do the invocation. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay. So the Mahatmyam actually in this section includes 6 discourses. So we'll be discussing it over probably the next 6 weeks. So the first discourse is known as cessation of Bhakti's agony. So here we have to understand that in Bhagavatam everything speaks, like right now the bhakti is an emotion, right? So the emotion is personified into a human form and is actually goddess Radha, um, uh, or a Shakti. So this is the section where she is shown extremely sad. So we'll figure out why she is sad in the coming section. So before starting this, let's have a quick discussion. So I have some questions for you guys. So you guys can pick and choose and we can just discuss. So my first question is, what is the role of Gyan and Vairagya in cultivating devotion? What do you think? And then, can one pursue any knowledge with a distracted mind? What is the most important thing that we need to pursue any knowledge, not just spiritual, any knowledge? And who was Rishi Shaunaka? Anyone?
Yeah, I think the first question is pretty, like, that raises like an even more fundamental question. How can we cultivate bhakti? How can we cultivate devotion, right? We all
Hmm.
are seeking it, but what is it that we need to do in order to progress towards attaining it? Is it we need to first develop detachment and a knowledge, or as a function of us doing devotional practice, we will get detached and acquire knowledge? I don't know.
Yes.
It's
So,
floor is open.
yeah. So, like what I believe is probably initially we start with everything we start with knowledge, right? Somebody tells us about, and then we practice, and then we gain more. We ask them more questions who are, initiators like our parents or whoever, like our neighbors, or and then when we get deep into it, then we understand the more the concepts more in depth, and that's when I think the detachment naturally comes,
So
and then the
actually,
more
yeah.
detachment comes, the more devotion comes.
Another thing that I had learned recently was about how to get bhakti is by sukriti and association. So sukriti is basically connecting yourself with anything that relates with Krishna. Like if you want to do devotion of Krishna, eat the prasad which has been offered to Krishna, pray, read the books or Bhagavad Gita, like we discussed, which are written or which is the knowledge given by Krishna. Anything that relates with Krishna, if we engage in that, that is called Sukriti, and that enables us to get onto the path of bhakti. And second
Mm.
aspect was association of individuals who are already practicing devotion, because through that we can learn. So that was another thing I think that I thought I could add.
It's great points, Sandhya. So then, what about the second question? So, can one pursue any knowledge with a distracted mind?
I think that will be very difficult. If anybody
Yes.
wants to add anything or say, please feel free to raise your hand. It would be good if it is more interactive.
Okay, so let me answer that. I think, like, if we are watching TV, okay, and then somebody tells us something, so will we listen to them? So we will actually focus only on things that we want, our mind gets attached to. So if we cultivate a distracted mind, I think we'll not be able to focus on one thing. Even though we want to, we have to cultivate that focus. Otherwise, even though we'll listen to it on a surface level, we can never get into the depth, because to get into the depth, that focus is needed. So any knowledge can be pursued in its highest depth only if we have the focus. That can be in the bhakti also. We can just do it superficially, any action like acts, or we can just put our mind into it. And okay, so how about the third question? What do you think is the most important thing needed to pursue any knowledge?
Maybe curiosity.
Yes.
And of course,
Anyone?
an authentic source of knowledge. Yeah, others, please.
Okay, so can I answer? I think we need to be, I think we need to surrender to that person. We have to be very humble, even though the teacher can be very knowledgeable. But if the student is arrogant, or the student is distracted, I think, or thinks that that person knows a lot, I think the person might not share the, because he or she will still feel that no, this person is not ready yet to get that information. And I think the humbleness is really needed for you to, s- come to that stage that I don't know, please tell me. Okay, so what do you know about Rishi Shaunaka? Anyone? Okay, so
Yeah.
let me go to the next slide because it talks about Rishi Shaunaka. Okay. All right. So Rishi Shaunaka is a highly learned sage, and he was a teacher. He was very well versed in the Vedas, particularly Atharva Veda, and he was the person who asked Suta Goswami, who was narrating the Shrimad Bhagavatam, the right questions, which ensured the continuity, the flow of the knowledge and the stories. And he was very, very humble, extremely humble, completely devotional to Lord Krishna. And he was always very eager to learn a lot. So that actually his thirst for knowledge and his devotion to understand the deeper meanings made him a beloved figure in Hindu lore. So people will go to him and ask him questions, and he will also will never, he'll never say, "Oh, I know everything." He'll also go and try to find, and he wants to get into that depth. So that was Rishi Shaunaka. So what his role in the Bhagavatam was? He was the one who was asking the questions to Sutta Muni in the initial stages of the Bhagavatam. And you will see that sequence as we go. So where did the discourse on Shrimad Bhagavatam happen? And what do you know about the place?
I don't think I know the place.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, what I have heard is only about who has told this to whom,
okay.
Parikshit and Shukdev Paramhans. So yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you about the place. The place is known as Naimisharanya, and it is a sacred forest in India. It is currently, it is in Uttar Pradesh, in the Lucknow, the capital, in a place called Sitapur. There is a river called Gomti River in Sitapur, and that place, near that place, is where this Naimisharanya is. And there is this legend behind this place that at that time, when these rishis and munis, gyanis, all of them, they wanted, whenever they wanted to learn, or do the tapas and yagnas, there were demons and asurs and all kinds of forces that were preventing them from doing that. So they got so frustrated that they decided to seek Lord Brahma, and they did. They went to him and they said that, this is the problem, and we are not able to pray to God with the full dedication that we want to give. What should we do? So Lord Brahma took a darba grass and he made a wheel out of that, and he rolled it down. And he said that wherever this lands, that will be the most purest place. So they followed, and it landed in this place called Naimisharanya. And when it landed, it formed something called a water body, which is called Chakrakunda. To this day, whoever goes there, takes a dip, it is considered a very, very, very blessed place, blessed by deities, including Lord Vishnu. And it has lot of divine merits. It has purification powers, and it promotes spiritual learning. And this is where the Bhagavatam was narrated. So I have more questions, and that is, what is satsang? And how can discussions and shared reflections help in uncovering spiritual truths? What is the importance of asking questions in a spiritual discourse? And the last was, who was Sage Romaharshana?
Would love to get the answers from you.
Okay, so satsang. Sat means truth. So wherever there is a discussion on truth, which is not about the things related to external, such as body, mind, intellectual, discourses, egoistic talks, anything worldly knowledge. So whenever that is not happening, that's called asat. So that's not the reality. So where people are congregating to understand what is my reality, or what is real in its true sense, then that is known as satsang. And how can discussions and shared reflections help in uncovering spiritual truths? So only when we discuss, we come to know, anything, and we'll come to know what the other person's point of view. Because if you're just sitting here in one place and reading, you might not get the benefits of, maybe your level of understanding is not that at that height compared to the other people. So when you share, the knowledge becomes equanimous. So that's the importance of discussion and the shared reflections. And it actually makes us understand more, the depth, and also keeps us in focus, because if we are doing something else while others are talking, we are going to miss out. So then what is the importance of asking questions? Same thing. If you don't know, you should seek out the answers. If we sit there thinking that, I don't know and something will come, I think we will miss out. On its own, nothing is going to come. So that is where Rishi Shaunaka was always asking questions. So, okay, this doubt gets solved, then the next thing comes. Oh, what about this? So we have to ask questions, and and while we are discussing any spiritual books, basically there are a lot of insights that comes from within. And when that comes, if you share, that actually again increases it helps in uncovering the truths more. And about Sage Romaharshana, there was a story. He was actually the father of Sutta Goswami. So we know that Sutta Goswami was the person who actually explained about Shrimad Bhagavatam in Naimisharanya. So initially there were they were doing a yajna. Actually, it's called Satra Yajna. So this yajna was being conducted by around 80,000 sages who were gathered in Naimisharanya, and they were gathered with one intention: to decrease the effect of Kali. So when they were gathering, when they were gathered and they were doing this yajna, the person who was discussing the Puranas was Sage Romaharshana. So Sage Romaharshana was the direct disciple of Ved Vyas, and he was also the father of Sutta Muni. So he was the one, he did not know about Srimad Bhagavatam. He was explaining only the Puranas. He was very well versed in it. And while he was doing that, Balram, brother of Krishna Bhagwan, he came. And when he came, everybody stood up, and some kind of pride got into Romaharshana, and he did not stand. He did not pay his obeisance. And in on the eyes, because he is Balrama is also Krishna only. So in his eyes, divinity, right? This Romaharshana was not eligible to explain any sacred text, because the first quality that is needed is lack of ego, or you have to be humble. So he took out a blade of grass and he killed him immediately. So then he realized, okay, he was actually doing a good job, that he was actually helping everyone in acquiring knowledge. So what he said, he suggested to everyone that, okay, I will make him alive again. But then everybody probably they knew that Sutta Muni was more knowledgeable, or he knew about Bhagavatam. So they said that, can you please bless Sutta Goswami instead? And we want to learn from him. So then Balram blesses him and then leaves from that place because he's done a Brahmahatya. So he has to repent for that. So he goes away, and then Sutta Muni sits there and starts answering the questions. And the leader of the 80,000 sages were Shaunaka Muni. And then Shaunaka Muni starts asking very, very beautiful questions to Sutta Goswami, and which I have, some of which I have put here. So the questions includes, how do spiritual knowledge, dispassion, that is Gyan, Vairagya, and devotion grow? And very, very basic questions, because even though they were doing that, they also wanted their own spiritual growth also. So they started, the Rishi Shaunaka represented all the questions, and he started asking. So how can a common man remove illusion of Maya? So Mayas can be, Tapatraya, basically, if somebody is happy, they're not going to, so they want to know, Tapatraya, right? Uh, Problems that is created by your own mind, problems that is created by others, and there are people around you, and natural calamities, by nature. So they were saying that, how can a common man remove this illusion of suffering? What is the highest way to cleanse the soul? What is the greatest thing that can bring bliss and purity? And tell us the eternal method to reach Sri Krishna. And the last thing, what I have included here is what is the best way of purification when one suffers from 5 afflictions. So, what is the 5 afflictions? In Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we say that the root cause of our problems is ignorance, which is avidya. And this avidya, not knowing who we are, we think we are this, that. So, it develops ego. And then ego is always, seeks what I like, what I don't like. And then it has fear of death because he fears losing what he likes and he fears being killed by what he don't like. So so the root is ignorance. So he says that what is the best way to remove this ignorance? So anybody wants to tell me the story of King Parikshit and how was he cursed to die in 7 days?
Even if not the story, people can say whatever they know about King Parikshit. Who was the father? Who was the grandfather? Any idea? Anybody wants to pitch in? If yeah, Swami ji. Let me unmute. Do you want to? Wait, let me unmute you.
Yeah, I know I forgot his ancestrally link, but I know he got the curse and he built a very big, what is it? It's a very big pillar, not pillar, palace. And he sat on top of the top floor and just to get away from this curse. And uh, some uh, some maid or somebody brought an apple, and from that Takshak or Adishesha was, and came, and the curse happened even though he built something to cover and in a very protected environment, he was bitten by the snake.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I mean, this is like I was just thinking that this is like for any movie we get a trailer. This was like a trailer for the story we are going to hear in detail, right?
Yes, yes. And also actually I'll tell you the story, but the version right now what Soumya has said, um that I have also heard about there are 2 versions. Okay, so this was a version where he built a palace and he was there, everybody was trying to protect him, but the basket was snaked in and the snake was hiding inside the fruit and he ate it and he got bitten. So that is one story. And this story, which is present in this Mahatmyam, it says that once okay, so the lineage was he was the son of Abhimanyu and Uttara. So he was the uh, great, Arjun was the grandfather.
Grandfather.
So yes, so yeah, so King Parikshit, when they left, all of the Pandavas left, took sannyas and left. When they came to know that Krishna has died, so Krishna has mentioned to them that that will be the last time that, after that, after you hear, you also take sannyas. So they gave the kingdom to Parikshit. So Parikshit was ruling, and at that time, once he decided to go for hunting, where he asked others to go and he just want to do a little bit more hunting, and he was roaming around. He felt very thirsty, and he went to this. He reached an ashram within the forest where one sage was actually in deep meditation samadhi. And so he humbly asked him, "Can I have a glass of water?" So because the sage was in samadhi, he could not hear him. So he asked him 2, 3 times, and then a spark of anger came in him, and he just went out and he saw a dead snake lying around. He put that around the sage's neck. The moment he put that the and then he left from there. And after some time, there were students, right? There was an ashram, right? The students came from somewhere. So they were taking bath or something. So they saw this, and they saw King Parikshit leaving. So they understood that this is what he did. And they went and told the son of this rishi, and the son became so angry that he cursed that he will be bitten by the Kalya, I mean Takshak, this big snake, very, very deadly, poisonous. So, and then when the sage came out of the samadhi and the son told about his curse, he said, no, somebody has to go and tell the king what, because he doesn't know that he got cursed. So then they sent him, and then he immediately became very, very, dispassionate. He left everything. So this is the different version that comes. So he left and he went near the Ganges and he sat there. So when he sat there in the Ganges, he um uh, because of his aura or because of his energy, a lot of other sages started accumulating, and he started asking questions that, I have only 7 days to live, and what should I do? So they started, okay, karma yoga, but there's no time, bhakti yoga, no time, dhyan, no time. So he was very confused in what to do, and he was just sitting there, and that's when his guru comes in the form of Shukha Muni. So Shukha Muni comes, and actually he tells him that you just have to hear Bhagavatam. So I'm going to tell you the stories of Lord Krishna, and that's all that you need. So he started listening, he said he agreed. And that time, Indra and other gods came with a picture, a pot of Amrit, divine nectar, that if you take this, you will live for a longest time and you will not die. And I give you this in exchange for the nectar of Shukhamuni's teachings. Uh, so immediately Shukamuni said, whatever I'm going to say has, you cannot compare it with your Amrit. So please, uh, and Parikshit, listened to his guru's words, and the gods had to leave. So this actually shows that this story is rare for even gods to listen. So that's the importance. And then when the end of 7 days, Parikshit did not even sleep. Full 7 days and 7 nights, he heard the story, and he, got bitten by the snake and, turned blue, and but he left and he reached Krishna. He went to Vaikunta. And then when the story, went across, Lord Brahma, he decided to weigh the Shrimad Bhagavatam against all the spiritual practices and everything that's out there in the name of spirituality against Shrimad Bhagavatam. And Shrimad Bhagavatam was found to be the heaviest. So that actually, amazed everyone, including Brahma, Lord Brahma. And he said that it is Lord himself in the, Shrimad Bhagavatam is Lord himself in the age of Kali. And he is capable of giving, this book is capable of giving quick access to Vaikunta simply by being read or heard. So Sage Sutta, so this is the end of this whole section. So now you will see that, yes, Sandhya.
I'm just wondering, like, out of curiosity, like, why are we only referring to Vaikuntha? Are we saying like Golok as well, or like we are very specific
So
here about?
I mean Vaikunta in vibe, because uh, it's like divine abode. The people who will go into the book in depth, they will understand there are more lokas. But right now, probably at that level, people knew only Vaikunta. So that could be one reason. And because Parikshit went to Vaikunta, so that's why they said that this book is capable of going to Vaikunta. So that could be the reason.
And what, like, okay, I don't know if we have an answer, clear answer to this, but what made him go to Vaikuntha?
Yeah, so what I have heard is when Shukamuni was actually explaining about the divine leelas of Krishna and Radha. At that point, he felt this more like a, extramarital love affair kind of a situation. So, because Radha was married at that point, so his mind got kind of, disinterested from that, and Shukhamuni thought that this information, if I give him more, it might not be, conducive for his spiritual evolution. So he stopped. So because he was not interested, that could be the reason why he could not reach Golok, and he went to Vaikuntha.
Interesting. Thanks.
Yeah. So Sage Sutta continues. So here now Sage Sutta is just rolling out another sentence. So he says that there were Sanakadi rishis. So this the method of hearing Shrimad Bhagavatam in a week was actually revealed to Sage Narada um, in the past. So he says that, and Sage Narada already has heard it from Brahma, but this method of revealing it in a week was introduced by Sanakadi rishis also. So it is like how Brahma weighed, he just rolled out this also. So immediately Shaunaka asked, Narada is already liberated. See, he's already in Vaikunta. And what does he have to do with hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? And what is that relationship? How did Sanakadi rishis reveal that information to him? I want to know more. Where did they meet? What happened? So a question comes. What impact do you think Kali Yuga has on spirituality and inner peace? What do you think? Yes, Sandhya?
I also see a question in the chat
Okay.
by Swamiji that are Vaikunt and Golok different? So actually, yes. And we will learn that when we will learn Srimad Bhagavatam, right, Pratushari?
Yeah, and I mean, if you know, you can just tell briefly.
Yeah, so there are different divine abodes corresponding to different forms of God. Like for Lord Ram, there is Saket Lok. Lord Shiv, there is Shiv Lok. There is Golok for Radha Krishna. Um, and like there's a proper
Yeah,
in
all the
fact the
avatars
verse.
of Vishnu is in Vaikunta. So I've actually come across a chart by, I think, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings that
Yeah,
is called.
ISKCON
Yeah,
people, yeah,
they say,
provide that.
yes, they say that the Krishna and Radha, they live in Vaikunta and they are in their original, blissful form there. And then their internal potencies, which are equal, there's no difference. They come down and they form other worlds, and they take these. They called Aishwarya Shakti, and there one more, I don't remember it, which is present in Golok. There is no Aishwarya, but Vaikunta is related with the Aishwarya Shakti, and all the opulences and all the samhar of different avatars and everything happens there. So that's another that is from Vaikunta. So we can actually get a chart and we can explain also later.
And regarding this question, I mean, of course, Kali Yuga comes with its own baggage. Like everybody, okay, this is Kali Yuga, anything can happen. But I like genuinely feel that this is a very advantageous time for us because of this one line, Kali Yuga Keval Naam Adhara, right? Only
Correct.
by chanting the holy name of God, we can achieve God, which is like really, really the simplest way to achieve God. And that is possible only in Kali Yuga. So I would say
Correct.
that's a role it can play in our spiritual journey and attaining inner peace. So yeah.
Yes. So, and also it is depending on the bhav that you have, where you will go. So there are many realms, and uh, there are different bhavs, like, Madhurya bhav, there is Shant bhav, Sakhya bhav. So I think Sakhya bhav is friend kind of relationship, then Vatsalya. So depend on what bhav you're, praying to Krishna. Even though you take his name, it will always depend on your bhav, on which lokas you get to go. So that's why when we read Shrimad Bhagavatam, the Parikshits got more, associated with, I think, the Aishwarya, probably one of the avatar, the stories, whichever, and he went there. So within the Vaikuntha also there are planets. They say that, Narsimha story and all of that is going in one planet, and then some other place, some other stories, and we get to participate there and be there and watch him. So yes, Sandhya, you have another question?
Actually, there's a question in the chat by Swamiji again. And I really am glad that it looks like you have newly joined us. And so it's great because we also have a session that we have every Sunday, which will be tomorrow, um, at the same time, where we are also learning Bhagavad Gita together as a group. And that's where we conceptually talk about all the questions that you are bringing, which are great questions, right? Do we need to go to a particular loop of God to get salvation? So I think all these we are discussing systematically over there. So if it is possible for you at the same time like today, you can join us tomorrow, and gradually as a function of time you will get answers to all these questions. But thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and in brief, I will say that liberation means you're getting separation from everything that is material. So if we are able to get established in our real form, which is as a soul, then depending upon the longing, liberation is not going to a lok. Liberation is being here and understanding who you are, and getting separated from your real self. And then wherever you want to go, you can go. It's like, Narada Muni has got a curse actually, that he can go everywhere, and it's really not a curse. He actually helps everyone and guides everyone, and he goes anywhere that he likes. So there is no restriction of any soul. You can be here only, because even if you see Sanakadi brothers, who were the sons of Brahma, when they were born, they were complete Vairagis. They did not know about Golok and all of that. So when they heard Shrimad Bhagavatam, they got access to Krishna. They always sing that. So I don't think there is any restrictions of any loka or anything. But yeah, it depends on the bhav that you practice. And most importantly, the separation that you achieve while living in planet Earth. I think. So yeah, let's go ahead. Okay, so the Sanakadi rishis, they were 5-year-old, 4 5-year-old rishis. Okay, so the moment they were born, they were Manasputra of Brahma, and they were made to make the world, populate the world. But they were full of knowledge and vairagya. I mean, to that extent that they said, no, we are not interested. So and Narada is also Manasputra, so they are brothers. So they saw an anxious Narada at Badrik Ashrama. So these rishis, Sanakadi rishis, came there to meet pious souls. So when they met Narada, they said, why are you so anxious? Why are you sad? Tell me the reason. Tell us the reason. We might help. And Narada, looking at them, he paid his obeisance, and then he started telling his story, the why he was sad. So originally, this discourse is all about, you know, the Bhakti Devi, why she was sad, and now we are getting into that. So he says that when I came into earth seeking joy and seeking the bliss that I've heard about this place, in this Kali Yuga, I saw only the spread of unrighteousness. So I'll just quickly read what he says. He says there is no truth, self discipline, purity, compassion, or generosity. People focus solely on food, live dishonestly, and are dull witted and unlucky. False saints mislead, and even those who claim to renounce the world are wealthy and have families. women rule the households. So here basically women rule the households means they are going and earning. So they are the taking care, they have these feminine nature, but now they are going out and they have to do stuff, and people are not in that respect. He's saying women rule the households, daughters are sold for money, and there are frequent quarrels between husband and wife. Temples and sacred places are controlled by outsiders, with many of them being destroyed. There are no yogis, perfected souls, or righteous people left, as spiritual practices have been ruined. And here, food is sold for money, brahmanas sell their knowledge, and women resort to dishonorable means to make a living. So, all of this is what he saw in general when he came to earth seeking joy. And then but that was one reason. But then he went that while he was continuing his roundabout, he reached the bank of river Yamuna. So where he saw a very strange sight, that there was a woman. She was sitting on the floor being very sad, and there was two men who were elderly looking, and they were just lying near her feet, and they were unconscious. So, and there were other women who were trying to console her. And then seeing this, Sage Narada came near them, said, "What happened? Why are you, he just came and stood there. And by his presence, the young woman just stood up and went to him and said, "Oh, holy soul, please stay for a moment and help ease my suffering, because I believe that your presence can give me clarity." So the Narada asked, "Who are you? Who are these men with you? And who are these girls standing by your side? Please tell me the reason of your misery." So the girl starts telling about herself. She says that I am Bhakti, I am devotion, and these are my sons, Gyan, that is spiritual knowledge, and Vairagya, dispassion, but they have grown old and weak. So, and then he starts telling her story, that she was born in Dravida, which is the southern part of India, grew up in Karnataka, and she is just going from the Dravida areas towards the upper regions of India. So she was said, I was respected very much in Maharashtra, and then I reached a state of old age in Gujarat with the arrival of Kali, and became weak and sluggish along with her sons. But then she kept on moving ahead, and she reached Vrindavan, and she gained her beauty and her youth back, but her sons are still weak, and they are unconscious, and she is really saddened by their state. They don't know she doesn't know what's going on with them. She's asking Sage Narada, can you please tell me what is the reason behind, can you please explain the situation? So Narada he has already wandered different places, and he understood the reason, and he said, yeah, this is because you came to Vrindavan, and here bhakti is predominant. But here also people are not very, very, interested in spiritual wisdoms or spiritual practices, and they don't have detachment. But they have attachment with, they have greed, they have lust, they have anger, and spiritual practices have lost their meaning. So everything that he saw about Kali Yuga, he started telling them. And because of that, you got your youth back, but your sons, there's no Vaishnava spirit. So your sons are not are in this stage. So hearing him, the Bhakti Devi actually, she asks that how can Sri Hari allow this to happen? How can he allow Kali to gain so much power that people have become like this? And yes, Sandhya.
I just thought like this is a really, really important question which keeps coming up again and again, even in our present situation, right? Whenever we see something bad happening, many times we start questioning, like, where is God? Why is He not stopping it? Why is He letting it happen? So I just thought, like, at this point, we should also, like, start thinking about it. Like, now we are going to get an answer to it, which is coming all the way from the Mahatmya of Shrimad Bhagavatam. So, coming from the one of the biggest saints, Narada, right? So yeah, just wanted to stress upon that.
Yes, that's a very beautiful point, and that is what I'm coming to also. So yeah, so Kali has a very, very bad influence on people, and it is the nature. So people by nature will become like that unless they strive. That's why focus is required in any practices. They will become so distracted that they will not want any, they would love that because that's natural. Everybody is doing so. They will say, yeah, it's natural. But then, when Bhakti Devi asked about how Sri Hari is, allowing this, then he said that he's also like just Bhakti is, in personification. Kali is also personified, and he's saying that it is now his time, so he can do whatever, and it is by Sri Hari's will only that this is happening. And in fact, King Parikshit caught him doing, some bad action, which we'll learn later while we are discussing other stories. So he caught him and he was about to kill him, and that's when he reminded him that there is a there is always a blessing hidden. I am allowed this, but I have a boon that, if somebody takes Srihari's name, then that person I will not touch. I will not go near them. I will not bother them. And they can easily get liberated from the, effects of Maya just by taking Srihari's name. And just by hearing that, Parikshit let him go. And he asked, where should I be? And he told him where he can be, which will come in further chapters. Like gold, he said that you can be in gold. So once he got away from Parikshit, he also ensured that no bhakti will remain in hearts. So that's what his, and in spite of all these situations, we have to ensure that bhakti is there. So that's the crux. And then understanding that it was by God's will alone that everything is happening, that actually made bhakti very, very peaceful. It restored her hope. And Narada also said that despite the decline, Lord Krishna tolerates the age of Kali, knowing its true nature, and is actually waiting for the right time to act. So he will come. So, bowing down to Narada, thanking him for his teachings, that it has brought relief to her sorrow and has restored her hope, she pays her obeisance to Narada. So, this actually, we come to the end of the first discourse titled Cessation of Bhakti's Agony from the glorious Shrimad Bhagavatam, glories of Shrimad Bhagavatam in the Uttarakhanda of Padma Purana. Thank you so much. Again, it was a great privilege, and I think we are all blessed that we are able to hear it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pratishadi. Like this is, I had no idea about where Shrimad Bhagavatam was recited for the first time. We learned today, Naimisharanya. We learned about the father of Sutta Muni, right? So, and so many stories. So I think I'm really looking forward to moving ahead in this journey of learning stories from Shrimad Bhagavatam. And I think all of us are really, really blessed that we are getting to hear it through this platform by the grace of Krishna and through you as his wonderful instrument. So thanks once again. Yeah.
Thank
If
you so
anybody
much.
wants to say anything, ask anything, you can raise your hand or put it in the chat. And I don't know, do we have Damodarashtakam second verse today? Can we do that?
Yeah, we can. I mean, I don't have the lyrics in this laptop, so if
So
you
I
can
think
get it.
I can, you had shared with me, right? Last time. I can just search, or I can just search online and,
Yeah, because it will not have the English translations.
oh yeah, right. So yeah, you can read the chat in the meanwhile, I'll just get the lyrics. Yeah.
Okay. So I think, yeah, yes. Thank you, Shruti. Such a beautiful session. Thank you so much. Okay. And yes, we have blessed. Krishna has chosen us. I, bec- without his will, I don't think we can gather here and we can discuss. So I'm also, learning a lot, like every one of you, and we'll share these stories and talk about it. So it's going to be a wonderful journey together.
Awesome. Okay. So, as you all know, we are in the month of Kartik, which is said to be the most auspicious month in the year for developing your devotion by many, 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 many folds. So, one of the things that happen in this month is basically remembering the Damodar Leela of Lord Shri Krishna, and where that is the Leela between him and Mother Yashoda. Very, 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 very sweet Leela. So we started discussing, I mean, reciting this Damodar Ashtakam. We covered the first verse last time. Today, I think we can do the second verse, and we have Patusha Di to, I think, take it forward.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I have a little, sound in the background, so just, and please, if ignore if possible. I don't know whether you can hear. Okay,
no,
so
we
we'll.
can't.
Okay, that's great. All right, so second second stanza.
Yes, yes.
Okay. रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रं युग्मं रजन्तं कराम्भोजयुग्मेन शान्तकनेत्रम् रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रं युग्मं रजन्तं कराम्भोजयुग्मेन शान्तकनेत्रम् मुहुश्वासकं पत्रीरेखाङ्ककण्ठ मुहुश्वासकं पत्रीरेखाङ्ककण्ठ स्थितग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिबद्धं स्थितग्रैव दामोदरं भक्तिबद्धम्. So, the translation, Sandhya, you want to read?
Yeah, I was about to say I would love to, because this is like really, really sweet. If you want, I can.
You go ahead.
Okay, so yeah. So seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he, who is none other than our dearest Lord Krishna, as a child, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear. Like what kind of fear it is. We're talking about Krishna. And the necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with three lines, like a conch shell is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this supreme lord, Sri Damodara, whose belly is bound not with ropes but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances.
Yes. So beautiful. We just get lost in that story.
Yeah. So yes, awesome. So with that,
Does
we
anybody
come.
want to read?
Oh yeah,
Um,
if anybody wants to read, I can share that again. But I think you did like an absolute justice to it, which I don't know, I at least cannot. So I would want to leave it at that sweet note. So with that, I think if there's nothing else, we can
yeah, so
take.
yeah, I just wanted to say that, there are two more discourses on this, Bhakti Devi, that probably will take next 2 weeks. And then the another story I think we can do. Let's see how it goes, because I don't know the pace and the things of
Sure,
that
I
nature.
mean,
People
I
can
think
actually give us if they want any
feedback.
change feedbacks. Yeah.
Sure, like yeah, I mean, either here or in our, we have like a WhatsApp community, or individually to us. Anyway, you can share, and we will also put this video on YouTube, and we'll share the link. So this will be a separate playlist of Shrimad Bhagavatam stories. So with
Mhm.
that, yeah, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Patushadi, for beautifully taking us through this journey. And yes, see you all tomorrow for the Bhagavad Gita verse 6.3 discussion. Yeah.
Okay.
Radhe
Thank you so
Radhe.
much. Radhe Radhe.